Hi, my name is Ava and I'm a hobby sewist, teaching myself how to sew by creating my own clothes, and I'm also making videos along the way. In today's video, I would like to show you how I made this wool mini skirt. I made it about 3 months ago and it truly stood the test of time because I kept reaching for it quite a lot. It was one of my most worn pieces this winter. Without further ado, let me show you how I made it. I'm beginning with drawing parallel lines. I start with the waistline. Then I measure the distance from the waistline to the lower belly and the hip and make marks here. I'm also marking the total skirt length and drawing lines accordingly. Additionally, I draw parallel lines 2 centimeters above the waistline and 1 centimeter above the lower hemline. Next, I measure the circumferences of the waist, lower belly, and the hip, divide these measurements by 4 and mark them on the respective lines. Then I connect these points. I create slightly curved lines at the waistline and the lower hem. For the faux pocket or the side panel, I measure 5 centimeters from the hip line and 9 centimeters from the side on the waistline. I connect these points with the curved line. These measurements can of course vary according to your size. Moving on to the back pattern, I use the same lines, marking the waist circumference divided by 4 plus 3 centimeters for the dart. Then I add the other circumferences, divide them by 4 and add them to the respective lines. I add the dart in the middle of the waistline and make it 3 centimeters wide and 13 centimeters long. I make curved lines at the waist and the bottom hem. Again, I connect the side points. I also lower the back bottom hem by about 1 centimeter and double check if the sides of the front and the back pattern are the same length. For the shell, I'm using this woven wool fabric and I'm using polyester for the lining. I'm adding 2 centimeters seam allowance at the sides and the bottom hem and 1 centimeter everywhere else. When cutting the faux pocket panel, I angle it at a 45 degrees angle to create a little dimension in the pattern. Now onto the sewing. I start by sewing the darts in the back. Then I attach the side panels in the front and I also top stitch the seams down so it lays flat. As I go, I'm also finishing all the raw edges with a serger to prevent fraying. To create a hidden belt, I'm tracing the actual waistline. I cut out 3 centimeter wide pieces from the wool fabric and attach fusible interfacing to them. As for the lining, I follow the same pattern, but I lower the waistline by 2 centimeters to accommodate for the belt, and I also cut it 2 centimeters shorter at the lower hem. Now to assemble all the pieces, I first sew the sides of the shell. Then I attach the belt, making sure the seams align, and I also understitch at the waistline. I close the back seam, leaving space for the zipper. Then I sew the zipper and serge all the raw edges. I attach the lining to the shell, again aligning the center and the side seams. I also press it down and top stitch so it lays flat. Then I sew the lining back seam shut and enclose the zipper like this. Finally, I'm sewing the lining and the shell right sides together at the bottom hem. It's difficult to explain, but I am pulling and turning the fabric to the right sides as I go, leaving just a small opening to flip the skirt to the right side. And then I hand sew the closure. I hope you enjoyed this video and maybe even learned something new. If you did, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, happy sewing!